Hi, I'm Wendy and I've been coming to St James now for 28 years, so I've been around a long time. I grew up in central New South Wales, way out on a farm, because we were relatively isolated from Christian fellowship and access to good teaching. I knew fairly early on that the Bible was my go-to to learn more about God and to grow to understand Him. My mum and dad and my family were all Christians, so I've been a Christian for as long as I can remember. I'm a perfectionist and a rule keeper, so I don't even measure up to my own standards, let alone measuring up to God's standards. You know, if only I can read my Bible more or love Him more or be more forgiving, then maybe He would love me more and I'd have His smile. I know that I am forgiven only through Christ's blood, and it's not anything I've earned, and it's by grace. As I look at the Bible and I try and press those truths down into my heart, I'm realising that as time goes on, I am realising more and more how sinful I am and how far away I fall from my measurement, God's measurement of what I expect of me and what He expects of me, and at the same time realising how much I don't understand how holy He is and how just and how loving. And so as I become more aware of that, I have seen God has lifted my eyes, I guess I could say, from that, and I see the cross, and it's the cross that's growing bigger, and what Christ has done for me growing bigger, instead of me measuring myself, which I tend to do. Then there's only one person measuring me, and that's God, and His measure makes me come up as 100% forgiven, 100% righteous through Christ, through believing in Him and by grace. And that's been incredibly freeing. The problem is that I am still living in this broken world, and I still see suffering, and I suffer and I cause suffering. I think that knowing God's big story and knowing the end of that story, and knowing that it's His story and I'm in that story, and knowing the end where there's not going to be any pain and there's not going to be any suffering, no disappointment, no broken relationships with His people. I think knowing that has helped me to focus on Him and trust Him more. When we had two small children, Alan was an assistant minister here in Sydney, and we felt led by God to go and work overseas in Tanzania, East Africa. It was a soul-searching, painful, grieving, difficult time to think about leaving my home, leaving my family, who I was very close to, leaving the great Australian bush where I grew up, going somewhere where there wasn't easy medical access for children or easy education. It was too hard, and it was partly through reading from Mark 10, and Jesus is talking to His disciples, and He says that anyone who leaves family, mothers, fathers, homes, I will be rewarded with those things 100 times more in this world and for eternity, and together with persecutions. And I think that reading that helped me take my eyes off those things I was holding on to, and to see the cross again and to see Christ. And so we went, And all through our entire time in Tanzania and ever since, God has kept those promises. We have been given many homes. I've lived in 22 or 23 homes, I think, and each one special. Each one felt like home, but each time we moved, I remembered and was reminded that this is not my forever home, and I had a forever home. God gave us family and sisters and brothers, all that He promised. And when we're in Tanzania, each of our 5 children at different times were so sick with hepatitis or tapeworm or malaria or respiratory distress, or because I was sick and I was pregnant with them, that they could have died. But remembering that God knew my story, and He wrote my story, and I'm in His story. He had a plan and He was in control. I think that has been powerful in shaping me to trust Him through everything, even through tears and heartache and pain. I think that for many people that this is a journey, it is a journey, and it's not always easy, and for some people it's very, very difficult. But knowing God's promises, what He tells us in the Bible is either true or it's not true. And if it's true, then even if I don't feel that at that time, then I need to believe it. And He will carry me through those times, because He's promised me that He would, and He's promised that He would give a peace that's beyond understanding. So it's not easy, but if I am to believe the Bible, which I've known all my life, then His promises are true. And it is a broken world where even Christians are affected by everything that's broken, and we can't escape that. But we do have a saviour and a hero in the story, and remembering that is, that's what carries me through.